Hello and welcome to The Very Worst. This is a podcast dedicated to discussing only the Pokemon movies. Today we are focusing on the third Pokemon movie.
It's called Pokemon 3.
It's
The
called
movie.
Pokemon 3, the movie, subtitled Spell of the Unknown. I am Pat Reber,
I'm Matt Ockamp.
And I'm Ashley Stoneman.
and I think we should get started.
Hey, is that what you want to do? Is that what you want to get started?
And here
yeah.
we go.
You know what? Do you have any segments you want to pop on?
I think we should start with first impressions.
Who's got the first impression? Pat, what's your first impression?
I think my overall impression I have a few things. Number one, Spell of the Unknown probably caused a lot of unnecessary arguments with parents because Pokemon spells it UNOWN.
yeah.
Unknown.
It's a communist thing.
But aside from that, I was pretty happy with this movie. Something that I really took away from it was the landscapes were better. The last couple of movies we watched, it kind of looked like they were just animating over the concept art they designed for the movie, for the storyboards. But in this one, like they were I don't know if they used a different color gradient or what, but they were just they were bright animated landscapes, and it felt really really nice.
Well, right off the bat, like these are the best graphics we've seen yet.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the animation, just hands down in this one is the best it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. They even throw in a little early aughts computer animation,
Which
Yeah.
doesn't look as out of place as the early aughts computer animation in the
Clone Wars.
in Pokemon the movie 2000, which happened in 1999.
Yeah.
I also thought that this one was a lot less existential than the others. The others, the moral was kind of a like, listen, nothing you do matters. This one really felt like it was trying to. It's still a little morally questionable.
Yeah.
Or at least vague, but
But it still had
it
a
didn't feel
more of
hopeless.
a tangible moral.
Right, that's how I felt about this one. I thought this one was the most cohesive, where I could be like, I can tell you what that movie is about, like what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end, once again, they do shove like 9 different messages in that all
Right.
seem to kind of like not gel with each other. But overall, the story has like until that moment, the story has sort of a cohesive narrative and a
Right.
cohesive moral. I thought this one definitely had the least amount of moments where I was like, fucking, what am I doing?
It was still very unnerving,
Okay.
like to me, because it had a very like Twilight. You guys ever see that episode of Twilight?
yes,
Yes. It's a Good Life.
yeah, that is that episode of the Twilight
No,
Zone.
it wasn't the movie actually. It was the
I'm sorry,
Oh,
the
no, no.
Twilight Zone movie.
I think it might have been an episode as well, but like the movie, there's a one of the short parts of it is called "It's a Good Life," where the little boy can create anything he wishes.
Are you talking about the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, where
Yes.
Bart Simpson
Yes,
can do? Yeah.
yes, that one.
Yeah, I thought the same thing actually. I put that down in my notes because it was like it was a much nicer version
Exactly.
of that Twilight Zone.
It had a very Beauty and the Beast-esque opening to me.
Yes.
So I guess my initial impression was it was slightly unnerving, if not, it had a more coherent message, but it was still unnerving. I'll say that word again.
Yeah. I could see it as unnerving. Do you guys want to just start getting into the movie?
Sure.
Yeah, let's start a recap. Once we're done, I have some thoughts about the overall morals of this story that I would like to discuss after we've recapped.
Okay,
so
all right.
Stick around, listeners.
Awesome. Okay, so first line of this movie, these are legendary Pokemon Molly. It's a crazy hair dad. It's a dad with crazy hair. And he's sitting with his daughter and he's telling her all about Pokemon.
Right, but we're opening like on a huge mansion. Did you mention that? Like it's this enormous bedroom with like lots of toys and like a huge bed.
Yeah, like cool Pokemon toys, like
Yeah.
like a rocking horse, but it was a rocking pony.
Just like a very wealthy, immensely wealthy family.
Yeah.
That like just beyond comprehension wealth.
And it appears like the dad is some kind of archaeologist, some
He's
kind
a
of
professor?
Pokemon explorer, which I guess they pull in a lot, huh? I guess they pull down a lot
They
of
must
good
because,
salary.
like, her the size of her bedroom is the size of like 2 apartments. So
Yeah.
I would imagine that like he's a professor. I don't know many professors that pull in that much to have like a castle-sized mansion.
So they're having like a cute moment. He's reading through this story with her. He's telling her about the unknown, which is like his whole thing is he's hunting down unknown, and he pretends to be the legendary Pokemon Entei, and he chases her around the room. And then his laptop makes a noise, and the little girl goes, "Another email."
Oh.
This becomes a theme
Yes.
throughout this movie. People are actually pretty surprised by any email that they receive.
Why is everyone so startled by emails in this movie?
I mean, that's how I was when I was a little kid. Anytime my parents got an email, it would immediately send me into some sort of depression. Oh, Mom, you got another email?
It was, so to be fair, this guy does look to be
Yeah.
in his early 40s, and it is the year 2000
Yeah.
when
Early
most people in
40s
their early
professor.
40s were...
And this play school laptop that he has.
I know.
It's like this pink, like tiny toy-looking laptop, and like all the icons on it. It looks like one of those Jumpstart.
Yeah, there's like a
computers.
rattle on the side. If he spins it, all these balls make a rattling noise.
Although he, I think, has a hell of a skin for this laptop. His email is delivered by Pidgey. It's an animation of a Pidgey bringing him a piece of mail to signify that he has an email.
So so he opens the email, and it's his buddy Skylar, and
It's always Skylar.
Yeah.
That's what the daughter says.
Yeah.
Is it Skylar?
another email. It's always Sky. And Skylar's like, "Hey, we found a bunch of unknown," which is like at this point the only thing we know about this guy is he's rich, he's got a daughter, and he loves unknown. So we gotta assume this email is important to him.
Right.
The email goes on to explain that he has to leave his daughter at home alone.
Yeah,
With
she's got a
who?
butler, but she doesn't have a mom.
I was thinking, like, who takes care of this kid? She's
Yeah.
in this ginormous house she could get lost in.
The butler, I guess.
Is there
you
a
know,
butler? Did we confirm that those 2 people were like work there? Because it looked like they were just sort of like
Wanderers.
officials, like they
You know,
were
I've
just
always-
reporting news.
I've always heard that kids are just safe in a house. You can just let a kid wander around a house. And they're safe. So, then he says, keep me close in your dreams. He leaves. The little girl sleeps with a book about the unknown in her bed, which has got to be uncomfortable.
Wait, can we take one moment to acknowledge that his way of saying goodbye to his daughter was saying, "Keep me close in your dreams."
Yeah. If you said that to your girlfriend, she would leave you. Right? Like that is such an uncomfortable thing to say to a human being. Like,
Yeah.
like I think he's taking advantage of the fact that his daughter's too young to move out and to just say horrible things.
Make
So,
it as
prof-
uncomfortable as possible.
Professor What's His Dick goes to Skylar's Cavern, which is what I'm calling it now.
Okay.
And he finds a bunch of pictures of unknown on the wall. And he's
Yeah, so
like,
he's
"What?"
an archaeologist, is what it seems, or some sort of like Pokemon expert. Like, what is he?
I can't tell. I know. Yeah, we find out later that he knows literally everybody in this story already.
I think he is what happens when Ash grows up. I think he is just a
That's a
diehard
theory.
Pokemon fan, and his ultimate mission, now that he's probably successfully caught them all, is to find the legendary Pokemon.
He's caught almost them all. He did not catch any unknown yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And so he's looking at the wall, and unknown are clearly letters of the alphabet. Letters of the English alphabet. Every unknown is clearly a letter of
Yes.
the English alphabet. And this scientist is staring at a wall with just letters of the alphabet with eyeballs in the middle of them, and he's going, "I know these must mean something, but I just can't figure it out." Which will come back up very shortly. He's looking at the pictures, and he finds like a couple tiles, and he picks them
Yes.
up. And the unknown just suddenly appear.
They start to
and pull
glow. Those little tiles start to glow blue. The unknown appear and take him into. Is it the unknown? Wait.
Somewhere. I don't know. Some just like other dimension.
Yeah, they portal in, right? They open a portal, come in. They just look like cartoon eyeballs with flagellum.
Yeah, in the middle of letters.
And they're singing. They're all singing their name in unison, which is super creepy.
Yeah. And they steal the man, and then Skylar freaks the fuck out.
Yeah.
Which Skylar should be comfortable in Skylar's cavern. This is upsetting to me. But then it cuts back to Molly's butler, and he's like, "Oh, I should tell her."
And they have brought back the box that he opened and found all these tiles in, as if to say, "Hey, your dad's dead. I'm sorry. Also, here is the thing that killed your father."
Yeah. It'd be like, them bringing back the gun that killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
Real quick, if we could
and
back
being like,
up,
Yeah.
why is there no furniture at all in this house? Guess notice, like, it's this huge open, like, hallway. It's like an enormous ballroom. There is no furniture, and then you come to the kitchen. There's like a table.
I've got to assume all the furniture's animated and locked in the basement where they're putting on little like song and dance for each other.
Right. So anyway, they bring the box of these letters that killed her father because apparently she would always want those to keep.
And then she takes the box and the laptop and his laptop and start doing some like of her own research, and she figures out immediately, oh, these are just letters for the alphabet.
They leave her alone with it. Not only do they present this as the thing that killed your father, but then they say, "Okay, have fun," and then leave the room.
Yeah,
so
and then
naturally,
she solves the problem her dad could never solve. Her dad spent his entire career chasing down these unknown, and he's like, "What could it mean?" And she's like, "Oh, they're just letters."
Yeah.
Like if he had been there, he would have been like,
she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna spell Mama and Papa." There you go.
Yeah, he would have killed himself if he had seen this happen.
She's like 6, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
she is very young.
She's very young. She jumps on the computer like she's an expert. And at this time, like in just even internet or computer age, like 6-year-olds cannot work a computer with the literacy that she did. Like she jumped on there and was like, "Okay, solved everything that my dad's life's work I can hack into, and it's fixed."
So then the unknown just appear out of nowhere again. And again, the people who write these Pokemon stories seem to believe that part of psychic powers is being able to turn things into rocks. Because the unknown show up and using their quote-unquote psychic powers, they start just like creating crystals all over the mansion.
Right.
Well, so this is later explained as just the child's imagination. Just everything that happens is a product of her saying, "This is what I think is pretty."
So when Ash turned into rock in the first movie, was that just Mike 1's imagination?
Now that was real, dude.
So this crystal starts growing everywhere, and Molly says, "I want my papa," and then instead of her papa, the Pokemon Entei shows up.
Yes, which is the coolest dog I've ever seen.
And she's like, "No, you are my papa."
Well, no, but she says, because she said at the beginning of the movie, "You're just like Entei," to her dad. And then he said, "I am Entei." So when Entei showed up, she assumed that he had become Entei.
He shows up and she's just like, "You're my dad." And it's like, and she runs up and hugs it, and it zooms in on this Entei's face, and it's just looking around, it zooms in on its face where its like eyes start darting left and right, like it's like, who the fuck is this little girl who's touching me?
But he's down with it. Like he immediately is like, "All right, if this is what you want, then I'm your dad."
So I don't understand. This is where I got a little lost. Why is he obeying her wish? Is that just as a Pokemon? Is that his function?
he's not a real Pokemon. He is a figment of her imagination
Oh,
as
I'm sorry.
as brought
Okay.
to life by the unknown.
By the unknown. Okay, cool. So he just
Um,
like, obeys her wish because I
yeah.
got it. Okay.
So yeah, so she weirds out this Entei, and then the ice or crystals or whatever it was. I guess it's crystals, right?
Yeah, it's just like a glass covering on everything.
As they start spreading out, then suddenly this dope ass intro comes up, and it's the title of the movie, and it's fucking so cool.
It was a cool intro. Like they really got their shit together in this movie.
And then we meet the gang.
And then
Our
everything
heroes.
changes.
And guess what? So it's Ash, Lee, Catch Them All, Misty, Water Lady.
Right.
And Brock
And
is
Brock
back,
back,
baby.
I was so excited that Brock is back. My favorite
And-
character.
And he is thirsty as ever.
Oh yeah, Brock is a horny man.
Immediately starts talking about how beautiful the women around him are.
I instantly regret missing him. He shows up, and I'm like, "Where's Tracy? I want Tracy back."
It gets a lot worse later too.
Yeah. Here
Yeah,
comes
so-
Brock.
So this trainer shows up, and she's like, "Hi, I'm I'm
Lisa.
looking for Pokemon trainers to battle." And Ash is like, "I'm Ash from whatever," and Brock is like, "I'm Brock from Pewter City, and I want to be your boyfriend." It's like, what the fuck, dude?
That takes a lot of balls. Like to just walk up to a woman that horny and just be like, "And I want to date you."
I want to be your
Brock.
Not even just like I want to take you out. I want to be your boyfriend. I don't know your name. I don't know your first name, but I want to be your boyfriend. And I don't know why we missed Brock so much.
I miss Brock. Good old Brock.
So she challenges Ash to a battle, and
And
this battle looks very familiar.
This like Boys to
Although-
Men song is playing over it.
Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster. Make the way to the top of the hill. Each time you try, gonna get just a little bit better. Each step you climb, just one more step up the ladder.
We do get something that we haven't seen in past movies so far, which is Ash losing battles.
True, he's having a hard time,
Yeah,
but he's struggling.
They do like a best of 3 or 5 or something, and he comes out on top. But it's like they went the full 5.
Right, yeah. So it's again, she throws out a Grand Bull, a fully evolved Pokemon, like you could use a Grand Bull in a Pokemon battle, and then he throws out a Totodile. Evolve your Pokemon, Ash! Evolve one Pokemon! What are you doing?
It's working for him.
And then he does, and then it runs away. Like, this is the strategy that he teaches his Pokemon. This is why they don't evolve. The Grand Ball starts trying to attack it, and it runs away, and then does one water gun at the Grand Ball, and the Grand Ball passes out. And it's like, oh, you win. There's Chikorita versus Girafarig. That weird giraffe Pokemon with Pac-Man mouth on its tail.
Is that really its name?
It's called Girafarig.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So weird.
And Chikorita.
It's not Geoffrey.
Yeah. Well, facing the Pokemon it's facing, they don't want to grow up. Chikorita, does one move, kills the Girafarig. Then Ash has a shiny Noctowl. Do you guys know this?
Nah, I don't know how to identify a shiny Pokemon
They're just-
in real life. I know the cards.
They're just different colors. So a shiny Pokemon is just a Pokemon with a different color scheme, right? So if you have so every Charmander is orange, right? But a shiny Charmander, which is you have a 1 in 8,000 some chance of any time you encounter a Pokemon in one of the games of it being shiny, which it would be yellow instead of orange. They're
Okay.
just a different color. So his Noctowl is gold, light brown Noctowl instead of brown and white, which is what a Noctowl normally is. Just a thing I know.
Good job, Ash.
Thanks.
So they get through this battle, which also doubles as our opening credits. And then
Something else
All right.
happens in this opening battle that we don't see very much, which is Pikachu tries to electrocute Quagsire, and because Quagsire is a ground type, it's immune.
oh yeah, it doesn't. It does nothing.
It does nothing, and we haven't seen that happen in these movies yet. Like a Pokemon just having an immunity. But anyway, that's me nerding out about video game stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Can we
The
pause for a second?
It's a whole new world now. It's a whole new way to say. It's a whole new place with a brand new attitude. But you still gotta catch up on and be the best that you can be.
Okay, so the battle ends, and this is fucking rad. All the Pokemon are just hanging out and playing together after they like just fought each other.
Yeah, chilling.
And all the Pokemon trainers are like, "Oh, that was awesome."
The first words we hear from Ash, and this is something I actually meant to talk about for the last movie and neglected to, is his laugh. His Ash's, it's time to grow up. You're no longer a child. Laugh. It bugs the hell out of me. He does it at least once a movie. He goes ha 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 as he hugs Pikachu, and it is the fucking. You're 12 years old. Like, start to be a man.
He is still a kid, though.
He's laughing
Yeah.
like a 6-year-old.
And so all the trainers are hanging out. We find out this girl's name is Lisa, and they ask her where the nearest Pokemon Center is. She says it's in Greenfield. And Misty's telling them all about Greenfield, and she's like, everything's beautiful in Greenfield. And fucking Brock is like, ugh, then I can't wait to see the girls.
Fuck, Brock is so horny. Like, he cannot contain it.
In this moment, Ash looks at Brock and he says, and it's like, dude, Ash, let me give you some advice from 2018. If your friend is being creepy, you gotta say something, my man. You can't just recognize creepy behavior and then proceed as if nothing's wrong. You gotta talk to your
Speak
friend.
up, Ash.
Yeah, speak up. Talk to your friend.
That's true. It's,
So this is where they
Ash, if you're
say
listening.
You're enabling this.
silence is complicity. That's what it is.
Yes, Ash.
Um,
Silence is complicity, Ash.
Ash.
And you knew it. You knew it. In that moment, we heard you say, you knew this was
Yeah,
wrong.
you were about to say something. Next time, do it. It's worth it.
We're going to
It's-
keep our eyes on you. We're going to keep our eyes on you the rest of this.
We're watching you, Ash. Ash. We're watching
Ash.
you.
We're watching you.
We're watching you.
And we will be for like the rest of our lives. So
Yeah.
get better. Get better. Be better. We could be better.
All right, so they say, Missy says, I've always wanted to go there. Lisa says, so have I. I know the quickest way there. They've never been there before, and yet
Oh, yeah.
Lisa knows the quickest way to get there.
And how they both seem to know a lot about it. I missed that.
And Lisa is nearby, and it doesn't seem like she's afraid of the place.
Right, so this is what I thought. Like, this must be like some sort of famous, like, touristy site now.
Oh yeah.
So it's like word has gotten around, like people like hear about like how beautiful and blah 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 it is, but the fact that it's been like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to see it. Hang on, I know a shortcut. Like, I don't understand how Lisa knows exactly how to get there the quickest when she's literally never seen it.
Well, it's like people. I don't know if our listeners know this, but Ashley is in New York City.
I just wanted to.
Yeah,
make
wait.
that-
It's
Is that where you live?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I live in New York City. I live in the city that never weeps.
The city that did you say the city that never weeps?
What?
It's regardless. It would be like you in big New York City having a friend in town and they wanted to go see the Statue of Liberty,
Or
right?
the Empire State Building or something like
Yeah.
that.
It'd be like, I know how to get there. I see it every day. Who cares?
The only reason I knew how to get there is like I'll pull this up on my iPhone. So maybe
Which
she
I get-
she
which
probably
maybe-
put on her Pokedex or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe Lisa does because she seems to have some high tech watch a little later on. Maybe she just has like a Waze app on it or something.
I know a shortcut. Let me pull out my
Okay.
GPS that shows me the quickest way there.
that makes sense actually.
And then it cuts to Team Rocket, and it's a useless scene except for while Buffett jumps out of its Pokeball and annoys them, and it's pretty fucking funny.
It is I took a specific note about
Yeah.
this because I thought it was funny as hell. I'm so glad that you get to watch Team Rocket, that you already know is incredibly stupid, berate somebody else for being stupid.
Yeah. But Team Rocket, once again, in this movie, like in all the movies, I'm starting to realize is just a useless... It's just like they are obligated to put Team Rocket in the movie, and they can never find a spot for them, so Team Rocket is they just... Occasionally the movies will cut to Team Rocket, they'll make a bunch of puns, and they'll just be next to the action.
What was the? I'm sorry to ask this because I'm exposing my ignorance. But what was the Pokemon that they hate so much
Wobbuffet.
that they were like things are bad enough without you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That's
Why-
it's called
why-
It's called Wob. It's like if
It's short for Warren Buffett.
it's like if Warren Buffett is getting a little rowdy at your party, and you're like, "Whoa, Buffett!"
But he's just standing there. Why do they hate this Pokemon so much?
I don't.
They're so mean. They're so
I don't know.
mean,
Yeah,
these Pokemon.
this is not the only time in this movie that there will be some sort of what I guess is an inside joke from the TV show that I
guess
just don't
so.
understand.
Yeah,
I
they
laughed
just
really hard.
Me too.
I genuinely laughed because they just hate this Pokemon for no reason.
So then they head to Greenfield, and they start to realize something's wrong, and then they see it, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't green. This is a bunch of crystals."
Crystal
So-
flowers.
this is another fun moment that just kind of lacks any context because I think we needed to watch the series. There is a woman with bright green hair in a suggestive police officer's outfit riding a Vespa, and Brock just shouts out, "Officer Jenny!"
Yeah.
She doesn't have a single line in the movie. She shows up once more at the end just to help people escape a burning building or something.
Yeah.
That's it. They name her
Pat,
as she goes by.
Would it surprise you if you have seen her and heard her name in the last Pokemon movie that you watched?
Yes, that would shock me.
It was it wasn't in the last Pokemon movie. It was in the first Pokemon movie.
Oh right, the fairy.
She's in the Pokemon Center, and she's the one telling everybody not to go to New Island.
That's why they can't
Wait,
board
that's
the ferry.
the one. That's why you can't board the ferry.
Yeah, it's her. It's your
Oh
favorite
my
character.
God! Wow, I'm sorry. I love that woman.
You and Brock have the same favorite character in this series.
That's awesome.
So yeah, a newscaster is explaining, so suddenly a newscaster shows up and explains this thing that we already know.
Yeah, brilliant exposition.
And it cuts to Ash's mom watching it at home, and that fucking Mr. Mime is still there sweeping.
Yes.
Which again, I have moral problems with.
And she says something very strange, which is, "How much more can Spencer take?" Is that what she says?
Yeah, that's what she says. And then she, did she call Professor Oak? Did she show up at the lab? I forget.
Isn't he like already there? I don't know. Like something is
No.
weird where he's like already present.
Somehow they appear with each other, and Professor Oak also has somebody sweeping, but it's a fucking human. There's just some dude in the background of Professor Oak's laboratory also sweeping, just like Ash's mom makes a Mr. Mime do for its entire life.
It's not just some dude. You know who it is?
It's not Tracy.
Clarence. Tracy. I'm sorry.
Is it? I mean,
not
is
Tracy.
it Tracy?
It absolutely is. I
it
saw
Tracy?
him and I said, "Holy cow, that's Tracy." I have a whole thing about this if you don't
Whoa.
mind.
Okay, go.
I think that Tracy is the normal lab assistant because in the last movie in Pokemon 2000 we saw that Brock was acting as lab assistant to Professor Oak. So I think that Brock, maybe during the course of the series, maybe it's just never actually mentioned, but did something let's say immoral. I think that he
Not
maybe
Brock.
maybe
not our
he-
good friend
What?
Brock.
Brock?
Maybe he just like lost his cool one day and beat up one of his Pokemon or something like that.
Or he tongue
But he
kissed-
was-
they caught
he
him
was-
tongue kissing it, I think.
French
If anybody wants to send me art of Brock tongue kissing any of his Pokemon, please at Matt Allcamp, at Pat Reaper, or at Ash.
No, and I'm going to repeat again, don't do that. I will block you.
But I think that Brock got in trouble for doing something like that. And they were like, listen, Brock, you're too good a trainer. We're not going to kick you off the force, but we're going to take you out of the field for a little while. You'll be behind a bench. And then he did good as a lab assistant. And now he's back, and Craig or whatever his fucking dumb shitty name is.
Craig. I think it's Clarence.
All right, so here's my theory.
Yeah.
Is that in the last movie, Tracy had some sort of like special ability to like guide them to where they needed to be, and Brock took over duties in the lab.
Tracy. Okay, my only problem with that theory is that Tracy did fucking nothing in that last
It's
movie.
true.
Tracy sucks.
Tracy's the worst.
I hate Tracy.
I hate Tracy. Does he
I
even
really
own
do.
a Pokemon? I guess he owns a Venonat because he had it in that Pikachu short, but that's all. He owns a shitty Pokemon and he is a shitty person.
I hate Tracy so much.
So anyway, Ash's mom and Oak are talking, and it turns out that Ash's mom used to be friends with who she
Spencer.
calls Spencer,
The
but
professor.
is named Professor Hale. So he's Professor Spencer Hale.
Yeah, it almost looks like they were the original Ash and Misty.
Right,
Hey.
which is interesting.
Yeah, because, okay, so she's known him, because Professor Oak says, you've known him since you were a schoolgirl, haven't you? And I'm not sure how Professor Oak knows that, but he does. So yeah, they've been friends since they were kids.
And I
These
have a
two.
thought about that, but let's move forward through this right now. So
Is I'm sorry, just real quick, is your thought that Ash's mom is also Molly's mom?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
No,
let's-
Ash's
we'll
mom,
get
I
there.
do not believe is Molly's mom. It's very similar to that, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. So Oak is going to Greenfield, and he's bringing Ash's mom with him, which is at this point I started to note this movie combines the formulas of both of the previous movies, right? And we can talk about this towards the end, but I want to remember to bring it up. This time, or Ash's mom and Oak, when they go to the front lines of the plot, they have a reason and they have a purpose, and they tie into things.
Yeah,
which,
instead of just scolding him at the end of the movie for
Yeah.
being too reckless.
yeah. So they show up, and for some reason, the news people decide this was worthy of filming. So the news people film Professor Oak and Ash's mom showing up, and Molly's watching this. Molly's the little girl, and she's watching this on the news at in her weird crystal palace with her Pokemon dad, and she says
On her laptop, by the way.
on her laptop, and she says, "I want a mama too." It's like, chill out, Molly.
She
That's
says it to Enya. Not Enya.
Enya.
Entei.
Entei.
He says, like, if that's what you wish, and takes off. And this is a thing that bothers me a little bit. Ash's mom explains the history of Professor
Yeah.
Hale, and her detail about who should be Molly's mother is she disappeared.
Yeah, all she says is she disappeared, and doesn't seem bothered by it. Is very casual about it, but she talks about how she knew Professor Hale before Ash was born, and then they stopped hanging out for a little while, and then Professor Hale showed back up after Ash was born to meet him.
I know what your theory is.
Probably that's your real dad, Ash, right? She's telling you the story of your real dad.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
This is Ash's real dad.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, you even said this was the Ash and Misty of their day.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense, because in the last movie, Ash and Misty boned.
That's true. Yeah, and right, because that girl kept taunting them, saying, "You guys will never bone," and then they were like, "Oh," and Misty was
We'll
like,
show
"Oh
you
yeah."
what for.
But you even said earlier in the movie, Professor Hale is what happens when Ash grows up.
Yeah.
Professor Hale is Ash's dad. I'm sure about it. And then Entei shows up and steals Ash's mom.
You
he
are
looks her-
mama.
You are mama.
He looks her in the eye and says, "You are Mama."
You are Mama.
That's my favorite line.
It's the best line of
Our mama.
any movie that's ever existed. He kidnaps Ash's mom, and then
Ash has a real dramatic moment here. He
does.
falls to the ground. He punches the crystal.
yeah, he punches.
I
the
couldn't
crystal.
save her.
So first, Ash was running after the Entei,
Right.
presumably to punch it in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
That's the only move. That's his go-to move when a powerful Pokemon interrupts his day.
Just generally when something's wrong.
He tries to punch it in the. So he's probably chasing it, thinking that he's gonna punch it in the stomach. But yeah, it gets away, and he instead he punches some crystals.
So Ash's line there is,
I couldn't save her.
"She's gone. I couldn't save her." And it was, I'm glad I'm not the only one that took notes on this. That is, he really put forward a powerful performance. I think it's the most we've seen Ash emote since this series started.
You know what it does? It makes you relate to. I was wondering why Ash was relatable in this movie in a way that he hadn't been in the previous two, and that must be it, right? Like, you see him go through something emotional.
He's cried in every movie. In every movie, he's broken down at least once.
And in every movie, it's not earned until now. If a Pokemon dad stole my mom, I'd probably cry too, especially when I was 12. So Entei drops off Molly, Ash's mom, and he says, "I have brought you what you wished for," which basically, that line should have been, "I have brought you a mama," right? Like, that's what that
Yes.
line should have been.
I brought you mama.
And then Ash's mom gets all creepy, and she believes that she's Molly's mom.
Yes.
And this was all caught by the news crew, who is broadcast. I don't know how wide their range is, but they are broadcasting to what appears to be a Charizard sanctuary.
Yeah, so this is another thing that must make sense if you watch the TV show. It cuts to a green-haired lady watching this on TV, and Charizard, like a bunch of Charizards, are watching it with her.
Right.
And I guess what we're supposed to assume is Ash's Charizard stops suddenly, and it's like, "What's up?" And he gets all upset.
Did we already touch on this? Like, where did the reporter get this lead? Like, where did it come in? Like, how did they catch wind of this happening?
Well, I have a thing, because then right after this it cuts to like a single bulldozer trying to smash through the crystals.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And-
their first idea.
And it's like, this is an insane like crisis situation. This is a doomsday level event happening. Like, imagine if Martha's Vineyard, like, I'm trying to think of a nice place that rich people live. So imagine if Martha's Vineyard suddenly got taken over by a bunch of magical crystals. You would have the National Guard,
It's
you'd have
true.
the army,
Okay.
you'd have every surrounding police force.
Yeah.
You would have the president of the United States on TV talking about the situation. You'd have people in other countries talking about it. This is a guy with a bulldozer, two people from one news station, a professor, a Pokemon professor that lives in a different country, and a group of kids. That's it. That's all they have. Where is everybody? Where are the adults?
You're really
I
upset.
think that's a very good point. This is they show up with one bulldozer, not even like a foreman. Like, this guy doesn't even have a boss. It's like a guy that lives in the farm next door. Was like, well, I got a bulldozer. I can try to bring that over and see if that'll work.
And then Professor Oak gets an email
It's
from Molly.
very startled by the email.
Here it is again.
An email?
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 And how did Molly get Professor Oak's email address?
Like I said, she's more computer literate than any other 6-year-old I've ever met.
What do you guys think, Professor? Let's do a quick round robin. What do you think Professor Oak's email address is?
I mean, it's not Gmail for sure. It's
What?
like
He's still on AOL, I'm guessing.
Yeah, poke a lover
69,
Pro-
420, 69.
at AOL.com. Prof for you. Poke prof for you at AOL.com.
And it's like
It's Prof Oak Pokey Lover for 2069. That's what I think it is at AOL.com
He was way ahead of his time.
or Hotmail, Hotmail.com.
Babasaur at AOL.
Babasaur.
That's his alt.
Yeah. Anyway, Ash and Misty and Brock all go running into the big crystal. Lisa gives them a cool watch.
It's against Professor Oak's advisement.
Yeah. They just go running in.
They storm the castle. And they go in. Actually, I was impressed by the continuity. Or as earlier, when everything was turning into crystal, they show that the stream doesn't get crystallized, and that's how they enter through the thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, then we get a funny argument between Team Rocket about whether they're walking through the creek or wading through the creek.
I don't
I
appreciate
actually-
your choice of word there, Matt.
I enjoyed it.
They're trying. Listen, Team Rocket has crushed it in the last two movies. They really had the standout jokes of the movie.
Yeah.
They're trying to do it again here. They are trying these jokes. They are not working.
Okay, well, I actually disagree. I think Team Rocket had some of the funnier bits in this movie. There may have been one or two like standout moments in some of the other movies, but there were some like very off jokes that I
Right.
appreciated very much.
I don't know how to defend. I don't think I could possibly defend the walking versus waiting argument, but I laughed out
Me
loud
too.
when it happened.
I also did. I thought that was a genuinely funny moment, along with the hating the poor Pokemon for no reason.
Yeah. So but you're right. Like they find their way into this thing by they notice that the crystals don't form around water.
Right.
So they blast a hole in the crystal, and then it seals back up. So then they blast a hole in the crystal again, and then they shoot water through it, and then they travel through the water, which is like a real like Zelda puzzle, right? Like that's like a real video game ass puzzle solving.
I'm so glad you
thing.
said this because like
Yeah.
the entire movie felt like a video game to me. A lot of it, like it
Oh.
all felt like each act was like another level of this video game.
I feel like they missed a real real opportunity here to have Indiana Jones homage, where they at the end, after everybody travels through the stream, Ash is the last one. He grabs both his water Pokemon that are shooting a stream, and jumps through the hole
As it's
it
closing.
closes around him, and they just had a
They had a moment for him to drop his signature hat.
yeah, or even like maybe lose a shoe or something. They
Hey.
did nothing with that.
Yeah.
They're never mind. But that would have been great if he had lost his signature hat into the Indiana Jones reference. That would have been a good. I like that.
Meanwhile, maybe this was a moment before, but Team Rocket is watching them from a hot air balloon in the
Where-
sky. Entei, who is a Papa Pokemon, notices them doing so and shoots down their hot air balloon. They are well above ground. He shoots down their hot air balloon, and they go shooting into the side of the mountain.
And they're
Yeah.
dead.
I can only think that Entei assumed they were dead. Right?
Right.
They fall down at least 500 feet into the side of a mountain.
But we've seen them fall 500 feet before.
I mean, they've
Entei
accepted-
hasn't.
Yeah, this is true. No, here's the thing. Where the hell does Team Rocket get all this shit? Where do they get all these gadgets that just
I
kind
said-
of appear? They can't
bet they
carry it
make
with
it.
them.
I bet they make it. I
They
bet
make
they've
it
got-
on the spot.
Yeah, I bet they have crafting skills.
Okay.
There, it's dark
Like
money, I think.
MacGyver kind of thing, where they just kind of like pull random pieces of metal from places.
Right.
Okay.
So all this gets captured by by those two news people.
Right.
That reporter and the cameraman, and
That was just shut. They report that an air balloon has just been shot down after it invaded the airspace.
right. They
of
just tell
the
us
crystallized mansion.
They tell us everything that just happened, and then when Ash's mom sees that Ash is in danger potentially, she snaps out of it for a second, but then like goes right back to being hypnotized and thinking she's Molly's
See, I thought she realized what was going on and then
Yeah.
just started placating Molly
That's what I thought too. Yeah,
to,
she was just playing
to keep
along.
her from flipping out. She's like, "Oh man, all this," and this isn't quite explained to us yet, but like Molly is somehow controlling all of this. Let's try
Right.
to keep her calm and not tell her that I'm not actually her mother.
Right.
Right. Okay. Because there is never. She is snapped out of it later, but there's never a moment after this where they show her snapping out of it. So you're probably right. This is probably the moment she comes back into herself. But then they start. Then somebody explains this. Oh, then it shows Professor Oak and Lisa and Skylar, and they're all hanging out. No, not Craig Skylar. Skylar
Oh,
from
right.
the beginning
I'm sorry.
of the.
I'm thinking of
Skylar's-
Tracy, that fucking rat fuck Tracy.
So, I guess at this point, Professor Oak explains that Unknown have the ability to read the thoughts of other life forms. They can also recreate reality, and Molly's wishes are made real by the Unknown. So now we start to figure out that all of this is just like created from Molly's brain.
Yeah,
Right.
she is expanding her imagination to do everything that's happening. The crystallization of the mansion and the land around her, the appearance of these legendary Pokemon, aside from Unknown itself, it's all just powered by her imagination.
Yeah. So they wander through this big glass crystal dome. They end up in a big grass field.
Did we mention that Team Rocket is not dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Team
yeah,
Team
sorry.
Rocket are not dead.
They're alive.
They're lost in the magical
And-
realm.
Something very out of character is James makes a joke
Yeah.
for some reason, and Jesse tells him to be serious, which is incredibly out of character for Team Rocket to like for someone to have like to come to actual consciousness and be like, can you just not make a joke right now? Like, we like this is really serious and we could die. Could you just like be serious just for a second, please?
Yeah.
I thought that was the most real moment in the entire movie where she's like, you know what, this is like a near death, like life or death situation. Could we not make stupid jokes just for a second?
So
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I do love that. Just I don't want my last moment to be us making these same puns.
Yeah, exactly.
So our heroes end up in this big, beautiful grass field. At which point it's like, Molly, if this is what you wanted, you could have just left it all be.
Yeah,
this is where you lived,
You
dude.
had this,
Yeah.
and then you just put crystals all over it.
And then Team Rocket stumbles into a cloud of unknown, once again finding the center of the conflict before anyone else does, being the
Right.
first ones to stumble across the culprit for the entire ordeal.
And doing absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah. Oh, and James says, I haven't seen this many strange letters since I placed a personal ad. Which, again,
Bad.
very
Bad,
good.
bad.
Very funny.
It was a terribly good joke. It was so bad it was good. I don't know. This, like I said, the jokes in this particular movie with Team Rocket have been my favorites.
Hang on. He is talking about putting a personal ad in the mail and receiving, in return,
Letters.
photographs of people's dicks. This is a children's movie.
How is he saying that?
That's it. What's this?
You're
What's a
reaching.
strange thing you get in reply to a personal ad that you put in the newspaper?
I've never done it. I don't know.
He said strange letters, so I assumed it was like the correspondence was about weird stuff. Maybe it was a letter describing their dicks.
I think at best, yeah, it's just a pervert's manifesto that he's receiving.
There's a vein on the left side. It's a little crooked.
So Molly wants to Pokemon battle with Ash, but she says she's not old enough. So Pokemon Dad turns her
Pokemon.
into an
Poke
adult.
Papa.
Poke Papa. Yeah.
And brings her as an adult woman to Brock.
Which, yes, I am 100% shocked. Brock
This-
did.
oh my
Hold on.
God.
Wait, can we right before this happens, somebody says, "Oh, look, an Entei." And she says, "There's no Entei. There's just my mama and my papa and me." And then it cuts over to Entei, and Entei says, Yes. It's so placative but anyway, yeah. So yeah, when Brock steps forward and he's like, "Don't battle him, battle me." It's
I was like, oh,
They,
jeez.
as soon as they transformed her into a young adult woman, I said, "Please, Brock, my friend,
Brock,
do not,
Please, yeah.
do not hit on her."
do not try and kiss this little girl who looks like a woman for the moment.
And at first, it looks promising because everybody else is like, "Oh, who's this grown woman?" And Brock steps up and says, "No, wait, this is that 4-year-old with mental powers that we're dealing
Yes.
with,
Yeah.
Molly."
I'll handle her.
And then he's like, "How
I
about
bet you will."
everybody else leave the room and I will take care of this myself?" He knows that this is a 4-year-old girl just taking over the body of an 18-year-old woman.
Right.
And he is still fully ready to go. This is
Well, okay, right.
upsetting.
Well,
So
okay.
he fights her Pokemon. You're talking about the line later on where she pulls out a Teddy Ursa and he says, "A cute Pokemon for a cute Pokemon trainer."
Yep.
he calls her cute, but at that point, he has already found a reason for everyone else to leave the area. He's,
Brock, yeah, Brock, here's a chair. Sit down. We have to have a chat. You need to take a timeout.
It seems like he figures it out.
You need to go back to the lab.
Can I say something about adult
Molly.
Molly though?
Yeah.
She has these unknown earrings
Oh.
in her ears. They're these big, just like the big unknown eyeballs, the big white unknown eyeballs with the black tubing of an unknown's body around them. They're rad as fuck, man. I wish I could get every person in my life a pair of these unknown earrings. They are really cool.
I didn't notice him.
Yeah, I didn't notice him either, but that does sound
I'd wear
pretty
'em.
fucking rad. Maybe your adult girlfriend would like them.
Yeah, I'll get them for my adult girlfriend. She's a cute Pokemon trainer.
One thing, or actually, I'm sorry, if there's two things that I noticed here, if you don't
Yes.
mind. Number one is, so Brock agrees to fight the young adult version of Molly,
Right.
so that Ash and Misty can run up the steps to what they assume is where the source of the conflict is, so that they can solve the problem, so they can find Ash's mom.
Right.
Ash has learned his lesson from the first Pokemon movie in that he is able to run up a spiral staircase without falling off the side of it once. I was very proud of his character progression in that moment.
He's had practice.
The other thing, and this is what really blows my mind here, is that they cut back to the bedroom where Ash's mom is being held, and little 4 to 6-year-old Molly is still there.
Yeah.
She is projecting her own consciousness into this area where she's fighting Brock. That's not her for real.
Right.
That's her projected consciousness,
Right.
while still being fully sentient in the bedroom. She's projecting multiple consciousnesses at once, which is like, it's fucking advanced psychic shit.
Yeah, that was legit cool. Noticing that she was in both rooms at once was like legitimately cool.
Can we also remind ourselves this is a child's movie? Do you think that kids can understand like how she's able to project this version of herself while she's also remaining in another room?
Fuck the
Like,
kids. This
cool.
This is an enjoyable and cool movie. I don't even care about the kids anymore.
This is like
No-
touching on
no offense
duality
to her.
right now. Like this is like just the dualism of consciousness.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
No offense to our child listeners. This is you're more than welcome to continue listening.
But you're out of your fucking league,
But
kids.
yeah, this is some advanced shit. You better be like an AP kid or something.
You back up. Go watch PJ Masks. We are taking Pokemon is not for you anymore.
Go watch your fucking Peppa Pig, you piece of shit.
Your Paw Patrol.
So,
Yeah, apologies
okay.
to all the 6 to 12-year-olds listening.
So, Brock loses every fight here, and the last one he pulls out Onyx, and she pulls out an unevolved Pokemon. She pulls out a Fanfy. Mm-hmm. It does rollout. Do you guys know what rollout is in the Pokemon games?
No.
Rollout is this rock move where the first you use it and it just keeps automatically happening for 5 consecutive turns. The first turn, it like basically does no damage. The second turn, it doubles. Third turn, it just keeps, the amount of damage keeps getting bigger and bigger. So your last turn and rollout is huge.
Damn.
Now, a rock move on a rock Pokemon, which Onix is, should be not very effective. The first rollout should never do very, very much damage. And presumably Phanpy is way lower level than Onix. Phanpy destroys Onix with its first rollout.
But we've already established that her Pokemon are stronger than actual Pokemon
Right.
because they're dream Pokemon.
It zooms in. So she says, my little Phanpy is stronger than Brock's giant Onix. Well, first of all, Onix is a shitty Pokemon. It looks like it's one of the toughest Pokemon that have ever existed, but it is not a good Pokemon. Mm-mm. But then, anyway, it closes up on Pokepapa, and he looks all shifty-eyed after she says, my Phanpy is stronger than Brock's giant Onix. And he goes, yes, it is. Well, I don't know if he even... that's what's in my notes, but he might not say that. It might just be that he just looks shifty-eyed, and that's what I took from it, because it was a very... There's some very good eyeball reacts from this Entei throughout this movie. But then Adult Molly shows up on the beach after she creams Brock, and hopefully Brock walked away gentlemanly.
Yeah, there's no explanation as to where Brock goes from here. So.
Yeah, Brock and Adult Molly were left alone a little too long, and it's not good. It's totally uncomfortable. Adult Molly shows up on the beach and tries to challenge Ash and Misty to another battle, and it's on the beach. I wonder who's gonna battle her this time.
It's Misty.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I thought it was. I'm sorry, my notes were on that stuff. I thought it was. No, this is also where Ash notes that Entei is an illusion.
Yeah, that's the first time that it's mentioned, and Entei kind of like he is, like you just said, he has a lot of good eye reacts in this.
Yeah.
That's a good moment for him. He's really like, the fuck did you just say? But just with his eyes.
And Molly sees that Misty is like a teen. And Molly's like, "You're young and you're a gym leader," and so she's like, "Fuck this adult body.
yeah.
I'm gonna be like a tween." And then she reduces herself to like a 12-year-old's age or something. Because what's Misty? I think Misty's probably like 15, 16, right?
I think I always assumed 14.
Okay.
13, 14 sounds about right.
Like old enough to date Ash if she wanted to, but also old enough to be like, listen, you're a couple years younger, and you know we're maturing at different rates.
Well, that's why she like treats him like a little brother.
And Brock's like 37. So when Molly fights Misty, so Ash could get away, and Molly's winning every battle, and she is stoked about it.
Yes.
Molly. So here's an interesting thing about this scene: is Molly floods the world that they're in. She just water comes rushing in, but everybody can breathe underwater because it's this fantasy world that she creates with her imagination. But I don't know if we've seen this before. It's a battle between water Pokemon underwater.
Yeah,
which
it's super cool.
It's fascinating. Yeah, that's how they shine, right?
Yeah. While this battle's taking place, Ash makes it to his mom and real Molly. He makes it all the way up there real fast. And Ash's mom tries to let Molly down gently, and she's like, "I'm not your mama. I'm Ash's mama." And Ash is like, "Remember when we played as little kid?" That's your sister, dude, by the way. That's your half sister, because you definitely have the same dad. Both of you have definitely have the same dad.
Yep.
And Molly loses her shit at finding out at being told that the mom that she knows is fake.
Yeah. That it was she watched this person be delivered to her. She couldn't possibly actually believe that this was her mom unless she is, so overcome with grief that she's allowing her reality to be suspended.
So now something weird happens. So Molly flips out and a bunch more crystals grow, and then the storybook from earlier flips, a page gets flipped, and Ash's mom looks down on it, and it's an image of kind of like what's going on, like a darker time happening, and the crystal getting bigger, like entering into a dark and angry phase. I forget what the actual image is, but it's like this much darker image. And this, okay, what is this reality they're living in? Like, okay, if Molly's read this storybook like a dozen times, right? And so if Molly is following everything in this storybook, she's including the part where the little girl in the storybook goes insane and everything gets scary and dark. Like, why wouldn't, like, if you'd read the book, wouldn't you know to avoid this exact part?
Yeah, I guess she's a little too young to understand the morals of that book.
Right, she's like, oh, and now I get to do the part where I'm evil and everything's bad? Like, if that's the thing, is that book is predicting, like, if she's following the book.
I was going to say I didn't pick up on this during the movie. I think it's if that's a whole other level to this, if she's following a plan that was laid out by this storybook that was introduced in the beginning of the movie, I'm already
wild.
giving this movie a good bit of credit, and this is even more so.
I feel like that steals credit from the movie, to be honest. I think that's wild. That doesn't make any sense at that point. But
Yeah,
That
it
she's
also doesn't
following it
make
chronologically?
sense.
And the rest of the movie makes sense. The rest of the movie actually, here's the thing that might surprise you. The rest of the movie actually does make sense. So,
So while this is happening, they're also cutting back and forth to Misty's battle with the now 12-year-old Molly, and there's a fun moment where they have a fight between Misty's Starmie, and is it called Mantine? Am I saying that right?
Mantine.
Mantine.
I always call it Mantine. I think maybe she calls it Mantine. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, as either way, that animal just goes, oh, like that's its noise. It sounds like Colossus from the X-Men arcade game powering up. And it's fighting Starmie, which, as we've established in past episodes, just goes, ah!
So hold on. So do you want to do a little reenactment here?
Yeah. I'll be Starmie. You go ahead and
Okay.
be Mantine.
Was that a pleasant listening experience, listeners?
I've taken off my
solid-
headphones.
That's 2 minutes of the movie.
Okay, so can we cut back to Ash now? Because you know what he does right now.
Crystal's formed to a barrier between him and his mother.
Right.
And if we know one thing about Ash, if we know two things about Ash, number one, he hates barriers. Number two, he loves punch.
Why is that his go-to move? I don't understand. He has Pokemon.
Right. Also, it's never worked. He's done this in every
Not
movie multiple
once.
times.
He knows that's a rock. There's some good Ash stuff coming up here too, because then Entei, then there's some sort of argument, and Entei and Ash begin having a Pokemon battle. Like Ash starts throwing his Pokemon out to fight Entei.
Yeah.
And somebody please fill me in on the context here. I did not write anything down besides the line. At some point, Ash says, "I don't believe anything."
Now have I proven that I am real?
I don't believe anything.
So during the whole fight, he just keeps reminding himself and Entei, because Entei is right there, that Entei is just a figment of Molly's imagination, and Entei, Papa Pokemon, is having a full identity crisis over it. He keeps looking at Ash in the eyes, and he does that same eye acting thing he's been doing through the whole movie. He is clearly shocked and is in denial about something, and he is shouting at Ash, "I'm real! I exist!"
And he does this thing where he says, "I am no illusion," and he's basically in this fight saying, "Well, could an illusion do this?" and then shoot something, and then it's like, "Can an illusion do this? Do you believe in me now?" And then Ash says, I don't believe in anything. It's Ash's best oh God, little atheist like this is my favorite Ash. Just this like emotional, obstinate little weirdo who doesn't even know what he's rebelling against. He's mad for the right reasons, but he's mad in the wrong ways. So
the fight does not end well for Ash. He
No.
gets knocked out of.
well, before this, I think there's an important moment where Entei fights Pikachu, and Molly is not happy. She hates this. She does not want to see Pikachu get hurt.
Yeah, she loves Pikachu.
But then he knocks Ash.
Out of the steeple, out of this crystallized steeple, just to fall 500 feet through the air, just like he did to Team Rocket earlier.
And he lands on the ground and his bones shatter, and he dies.
It's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and it pans up to shows us like it like pans up into outer space, and then it says 10 years later, and then it comes back down, and the whole world is overrun by crystals, and everybody is a servant of Molly. And Entei, she feeds humans to Entei. Entei eats humans.
Babies, not just humans.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, she's feeding him a pile of babies when it comes back down, but they imply
Molly is forcing the humans to mate so that the babies can
Right.
be fed. It's
Exactly.
essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but it's implied though that he ate a lot of the main characters, like he ate Misty and he ate Brock.
Not Ash though. It's they pan over to the spot where Ash died. He's just rotting away.
He's
Yeah.
rotting. And they've caged Pikachu, and they make Pikachu. They've made Pikachu looks all grizzled, like he has like a 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing, and he looks haggard. And they've caged Pikachu. They've made Pikachu watch Ash rot.
This is how Detective Pikachu starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end, Pikachu finds a detective hat blowing away in the wind, and he grabs it. And he goes, and he looks at the camera and he goes, Pikachu, and he winks, and then it cuts out, and then
it blacks out,
the end.
and credits roll.
The movie. Bye.
Ash is flying out of this crystal tower, plummeting towards his death, and what happens? Ashley.
Fuck, I'm so tired. What happens? Hold on. I lost my notes.
Ash is flying towards the ground, and he's about to die.
Charizard saves it.
That's right, Ashley. It's Charizard who swoops in and picks up our good friend Ashley Catch Them All.
He flew from the Charizard sanctuary with exactly enough time to catch them as the peak of the battle hit.
And he drops, and he swoops in, and he drops Ash in front of Entei, and Ash is like, I'm still alive, thanks to my friend Charizard. And Entei's like, friend? And Ash is like, all my Pokemons are my friends. We work together like a family. And Molly has never heard the word family before because she looks so confused, and she goes, family? And then
she doesn't know the word.
Then Pokepapa says, then I will destroy your family too. And Entei fights Charizard.
For like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
is 10 minutes of them just flying around, shooting. Papa Pokemon shoots just giant orbs of light into
So
Charizard's fire stream.
right. So the battle gets down to the point where Entei's foot is standing on Charizard's neck,
Oh my god, yeah.
and he's about to just end it.
Yeah, he's about
And
to murder Charizard.
He's gonna murder him, and here it goes. And then Molly runs up crying, and hugs Entei, saying, "Papa, Papa, no more fighting, no more fighting."
So
Oh, wait.
in that battle, something else happens. Ash gets thrown out of the tower again, and he lands on the ground, and all his bones shatter, and he dies. No, we're not going to do that bit again. But Team Rocket shows up and grabs him.
For absolutely no reason. Ash starts falling out of the window. He takes a solid 10 to 15 seconds to go, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
on
his
the
arms are
ledge
flailing
of
and his
this window. And then his Pokemon catch him, as well as Misty and Brock. But also, on top of that, is Team Rocket helping Misty and Brock stay up.
And
Like,
they say-
it's completely unnecessary. You could have convinced us that 2 people and 3 Pokemon could hold Ash's weight, but you also added Team Rocket in there.
And they say Team Rocket's helping out again, which is a play on the clever play on their catchphrase. Team Rocket's blasting off again, and then Ash says, "Why are you helping out? Aren't you the bad guys, dude? Have you not been watching your own movies?
He straight up just says, "You're the bad guy."
They do this
Why are you
every
helping
movie,
me?
homie."
So we haven't seen any of the episodes in between these movies. The last time Ash saw Team Rocket, they were saving his ass.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were. They saved the day. They saved the world.
They saved the world.
And Ash was the only person that knew about it. And the very next time he saw them, he said, "Fuck you for saving me. I think you guys are evil."
You guys are the bad guys, actually. You saved the world because you're so bad and I hate you.
But then they did say after he was like, "You're the bad guys," they're like, "Well, I mean, if you die, we're out of a job. We don't get to be in any more movies."
And then there's a moment between all these people and Molly where they're like, "If you come with us, you get to have real Pokemon." And she's like, and this is where up till this point there's been a cohesive plot and a cohesive moral, right? And that moral has basically the moral has basically been, like, play the hand you're
Sure.
dealt. Deal with the things that happen in your life. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Like, right, that's the moral so far is you can't go disrupting everybody else's life because you're not satisfied with your own. That's basically the thing here. And, like, live in the real world, don't live in a fantasy. That's what the plot's been leading to. But now suddenly they're injecting all this. They're like, it's like, also, but friendship is very important too. These are the points of the movie, but also you need to realize that the real strength is friendship. Just popping in here real quick to say the real strength is friendship.
think
Anyway,
this-
continue with your movie.
They're just trying to really drive home. They're like, "I just want everyone to know these Pokemon are doing it of their own volition." And I just want to really drive that home.
Yeah.
They are not enslaved. They're doing it because they're friends. Okay, let's go on with the other plots. All right, that's cool. I just want to make sure we're all
Right.
friends.
Yeah, so Molly makes him stop. Yeah. But there is more. The battle with Charizard is actually really cool. The animation's really rad, and the orchestra, like the score, is really amazing. And it's like every time they hit something, every time something happens, it's like punctuated by an orchestra hit, which I love.
Yeah, the score was actually pretty spot on throughout this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, Molly makes him stop, and then they tell her that, a big part of battling is knowing when to stop. You're a great Pokemon trainer. We always battle hard, but we always remain friends. Which I don't know. Again, they're just muddying the moral.
There's
here.
another, it seems like the moral there is it's okay to physically fight your friends as long as by the time you're done, you're not still mad at each other.
And they're like, "Oh man, you could still be a great trainer despite all this. Like, friendship and Pokemon training is more important than a fake family." I don't know if is that the moral?
The moral is if you do something at the age of 6 years old, you could probably be forgiven for it.
So then Molly undoes everything, and the Pokemon dad, Pokepapa's like, "All right, I guess I'm gonna go," and the crystals. But then the crystals start shooting up everywhere, and suddenly everybody's in danger still.
This is
Fake.
the whole
that-
damn system has gone nuts.
One of those
but-
fake out endings that horror movies have.
Yeah. This is the zombie hand jumping back up.
Yep.
Yes.
And then NT tries to lead them to safety because the unknown are flipping out. They, as Oak puts it, they can't control the psychic energy they've created, whatever the hell that means. I guess that's like a tie into the card game, maybe. And then, good old Ash,
Has a solution.
He's gonna punch it.
he runs up.
Now, so
Yes.
he doesn't actually take a swing in this moment. It's just presumably like he's running straight at this group of unknown.
We've seen this before.
What else was he gonna do?
He's going to throw a punch. He slams into a psychic barrier again. Dude, you do this every movie. Please stop running at invisible psychic barriers trying to punch things. Please, please, God, please, please. You're going to have a crooked you're going to have an Owen Wilson nose. Shouldn't be mean to Owen Wilson, but dude, you stop running into... Okay.
Edit out that Owen Wilson thing in case he ever wants to come on the podcast.
Yeah, he might be a big
I was going to invite him until you said that.
He might be a big Pokemaniac.
Pokemaniac.
Nothing.
So then everybody else follows Ash's lead. There are several Pokemon and people that run up and try to punch this thing immediately after Ash fails at it.
And then Entei shows up and he's like, I'll fight the unknown thing, and he starts shooting his shit at the barrier, his like pink light stuff. Which, how is he doing this? Isn't he a creation of the unknown? Isn't the whole thing?
Yeah, and at this point, it's fully realized to him. He was like, oh my god, I am an illusion.
I am made. Yeah, these things are my creator.
So technically, like, the unknown know what he's doing and are still allowing him to do it.
Yeah, they could just
Their own. They could just decide, you're like, no, stop. You're gone. The end.
But they don't. He says to Molly, I was born of your dreams. Okay, this is a fucked up thing. All right. So this whole movie is about, how what Molly's doing is wrong, right? This whole, don't put all the stock into fantasy. You have to accept the real world and the real life that you've been given, right?
Yeah.
And then Pokepapa says, I was born of your dreams. If you believe in me, there is nothing I cannot do. That's the exact opposite of the moral. Like, if Molly just believes hard enough, and apparently if Charizard and Pikachu shoot the thing also, it'll just fix everything. And like,
Which works.
it does work. But what lesson are you teaching this little girl who just went crazy by believing in shit and almost destroyed the world?
So did the unknown commit suicide then?
Yeah, wait, here's what blows my mind about this is the unknown bestowed enough power to Molly's imagination to allow her to defeat the unknown. They have produced they have allowed her to have so much power that it exceeds the amount of power they actually have. This is another like just kind of mind-blowing science fiction philosophy concept.
This is like a combination. Can God build a stone so big even he cannot lift it? And Superman giving a kryptonite ring to Batman just in case he ever goes crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the perfect combination of the two. But Ashley, you're right. Basically, it commits suicide here. The unknown stop. Pokepapa leaves again, and it's tearful or whatever. I don't know. That part didn't really affect me too much because we know that's not real. We know.
He's a dream.
Yeah. The unknown disappear. The crystals disappear. The little unknown tiles, that box of tiles reappear suddenly.
They reappear and then they disappear again.
Just to remind you where they came from. And then Greenfield's all back to normal. And even Molly's dad, what's his name? Molly's dad, Professor something Hale. What was his name? Spencer Hale. Professor Spencer Hale reappears in Skylar Caverns. The butler, everybody shows back up. The butler comes out and he's like, oh, little miss, I've missed you so much. And Lisa and Oak and Skylar and stuff are there. And then Entei is in the clouds, like Simba's dad. It's only 6 years after the movie, and Entei's also kind of like a lion, so it's a little too close. And then we see another Buffett punch.
Yeah, Team Rocket is alone in a mansion, and they cannot figure out how this could work to their advantage. They are just complaining about how they are in a mansion that they can leave if they want to. That's their main complaint here. And they fuck, right? Jesse and James, like you're alone in a mansion, and you're already.
They have to at some point, even though they deny it. I feel like they would deny it if asked, but there
I'm
has to
sure.
be
There's-
one
They
moment.
They're
that's-
very lonely people.
Yeah, and 3 movies and 2 shorts in, I am absolutely
They
sure.
They spend all their time together, and they dress alike.
James has always got roses.
Yeah, I mean, they're hot.
Yeah, they're both hot.
They're both real hot. Maybe the only reason they don't fuck is that Meowth never leaves them alone.
They have a cat
that
together.
makes-
Maybe Giovanni sent Meowth with them specifically
so they wouldn't fuck.
so they like never leave these two alone. They cannot procreate. That baby will end the world. That's the baby that has been prophesized. Yeah, so this is the end of the movie,
That's
right?
the end of the movie. Except
Yes. There's some credits.
there. So at this point, we have no idea how Professor Hale plans to get from
Oh, I called it Skylar Caverns.
Skylar Caverns back to the mansion. He comes to in Skylar Caverns, and then the credits roll. In the middle of the credits, they stop rolling like people's names and everything like that. They give you this little scene that is silent, but the professor shows back up at his home, and Molly is super excited. She
Yeah.
goes to give him a hug, and while she's running towards him, his wife appears.
Yeah, well, that's
What?
the fucking weird thing. Okay, so this is that's the very end of the movie because all sorts of stuff is wrapped up during this credit sequence, right? Like Charizard leaves again. Why? I don't know. I don't know what this fucking deal is with Charizard, but he leaves again. Molly's dad comes back. Lisa leaves, and Brock loses his mind about it. Remember, like, there's this moment where Lisa walks away, and Brock starts chasing her, and Misty has to grab him by the collar. There's some windmills, that plot line wrapped up where we see windmills. Oak is sleeping on a couch while Tracy sweeps.
That piece of
That
shit.
happens. We see Mr. Mime back to sweeping. We see Molly get a real Teddy Ursa. And then there's this moment you're talking about.
Mr. Mime looks like he's aged a bit. Like he's really
I mean, it must
lived a rugged life since
Yeah.
the last time we saw him.
being a single middle-aged woman's house slave must really take a toll on you, right?
Also, think about
He's
all
like
the
a
things
Dobby.
Yeah, but think about all the things he's witnessed, and yet, like, he can't really fully communicate. So it's just like he's seen a lot of shit, guys. And-
I bet he has seen Ash's mom fuck Spencer
Oh, probably.
Hale.
Ooh, Mr. Mime could have just explained this whole thing away.
If only he could ever speak. But unfortunately, as per his namesake, yeah, at the very end, Molly's mom just reappears.
Yeah. So it's only ever explained that Molly's mom disappeared, and then at the end of the movie, she's back. She reappears.
Now, can we talk about the way that this is the last two movies combined? Like all the plot points, right? Like there's this intro sequence that is kind of fucked up that involves somebody presumably dying.
Yeah.
Which it turns out he doesn't, but there is a Pokemon battle that happens out of nowhere with a stranger, followed by a scene where they're all eating, followed by a crisis caused by a legendary Pokemon. Professor Oak and Ash's mom find out about it and rush to where it's happening. What else? Like, there's so many. Team Rocket finds the legendary Pokemon before anybody else.
Ash tries to punch it.
Ash tries to punch it.
There's a lot of like, there's also lots of a psychic theme throughout these movies.
Yep.
so far.
Including a legendary Pokemon that just speaks through their psychic powers.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like this one took all the elements of both the last two movies, and kind of tried to throw away the stuff that was bad, and only include the stuff that was good. And so it made like a pretty fucking enjoyable movie.
Yeah. So they make a very cohesive movie. They make a thing that sort of makes sense. They take some chances with some weird concepts. But what keeps it from going to the top of my list is that there is not one appearance from Psyduck.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
know. I was really feeling for you. when I realized that. I thought maybe during Misty's battle with Tween Molly,
Yeah, you'd think
it'd
pop up and just like pass out or something. But and listen, I think this is a fine Pokemon movie. It's just it's never going to be number one for that reason.
I'm sorry, Pat.
I do think
Maybe the next
that-
the next 20. Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I can only hope. I think that Molly learned some important lessons in this movie. I'm not sure that we did.
No.
As far as I can,
Because I don't think we're ever going to be in this situation.
yeah.
just have to
there's
employ
two,
these
if you want to try to take some lessons out of this, taking some of the figurative things in this movie literally, this is a cautionary tale about using your imagination and how dangerous that can be. They literally try to instill fear of the unknown in you.
It's true. Okay.
Yeah, and the hero at some point proclaims, "I don't believe anything." So I guess, I mean, I believe in a science-based world and a science-based worldview. I mean, I guess this is a little farther than I would take it, though.
But somehow it still gives us a little more hope for the world than the last two movies did.
Yeah.
So to sum up, don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
Never use your imagination.
Yeah.
Always be afraid of the unknown and stay away from it.
Yeah.
And if your mom just disappears, she'll come back.
Yeah. And that's true for every character in this movie, apparently. Also, there are magical little monsters that run around and they're real.
Yes.
But, for some reason, I regained sight of that while watching this movie. That these are movies about a bunch of weird little monsters with magical powers that run around and fight and stuff. This is a crazy thing. Why does Pokemon exist?
Wow.
Matt,
okay.
you've gone too
Yeah,
far.
no, we're
I'm
getting
afraid you're
pretty
succumbing to
deep
Pokemon
here.
madness.
Okay, all right.
You know
all right.
why? Because someone had to make a buck. That's why.
We have 100 and 300 more episodes in which we can figure out the answer to that question. So let's not rush it. Okay, how did everybody feel about this movie overall?
It was the best so far.
Yeah, I agree.
It was unnerving. It was philosophical, the most philosophical, I'd say. I don't know. I mean, I guess to say I enjoyed it. I guess I enjoyed it.
I think I enjoyed it, right?
I think I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the other movies. It kept my attention more.
Yeah,
sure.
I think I liked this. Guys, I think I liked this one.
I think it made more sense.
Yeah.
I think that they really put some time and effort into it, both on the writing side and the animation side. Of the movies, it's my favorite. I don't think it beats out the Pikachu's Vacation short. It's still my favorite. But yeah, this was, good job. Good job, Pokemon.
Let's rank. Okay, Ashley, where do you rank the 3 movies so far?
All right. I'm gonna move this one to number 1, I think.
Oh yeah.
And the second one's gonna be number 2, and the first one's number 1, or I'm sorry, 3.
Okay, Pat, how about you?
So far, I'm still pretty consistent with Rocky movies. I have to go. Number 1 is number 1. Number 2 is number 3. Number 3 is number 2.
Okay. I think mine's the same as Ashley's. Number 3 is my number 1 is number 3, Pokemon the movie. Pokemon 3 the movie. My number 2 is Pokemon the first movie, and my number 1 is Pokemon the movie 2000. Or my number 3 is fuck. Okay.
You said the same as mine. It's not the same as mine.
No, my
This
first
is tough. There's a lot of numbers.
I know. My first one is the third one. My second one is the first one.
Right.
My third one is the second one. Is that not what you said, Ashley?
No, I said the third one was the first one.
Yes, the third. Me too. Me too. The third one is the.
All right,
okay.
hold on. Let me clarify. Let's clarify for
hold
a
on.
second. Okay, so
My
hold
first one, number 1, unknown.
on. Okay.
Number 2, Mewtwo.
Okay.
Number 3, Lugia.
Okay. That wasn't mine.
Okay.
Number
yours?
number 1, Unknown.
Okay.
Number 2, Lugia. And number 3, Mewtwo.
Okay. Can I also say the more distance I'm getting from that number 2 movie, the more I just fucking hate it. The more I can't think of a single redeemable thing about that second movie, about Pokemon the movie 2000. There's not what's a memorable moment from that you're like, oh, I liked that.
Maybe I heard they're mostly in Minnesota.
Okay.
No, that's the first movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because they can't get on the
right, you're
dang
right.
ferry.
So yeah, that's right. The what's the redeeming quality of the second one? Oh, I think you're right. I think I don't like it at all.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
You're right. It's really bad. Okay, I'm changing my order.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Finally, for once.
1 is 3, 2 is 1. No, I'm getting this mixed up. Yeah. 1 is 3, 2 is 1. 3 is...
Guys, all right. So the next movie we're watching.
We should
yes.
mention it's like almost midnight. We've been talking
yeah.
for a really long time, and I'm so
Yeah,
tired.
we recorded 2. We keep recording 2 episodes in a row because of the Pikachu shorts. Pat, you have something.
Yes, sorry. I'm sorry. I have 2 quick points that just, they don't come up conversation. They're not things people like to talk about a whole lot, so they didn't come up during our discussion here.
One is race. The other one is genital warts.
Kinky sex.
My first final thought here is imagine pulling out an unknown in a battle.
Just some
Imagine
floppy
being a-
eyeball boy.
Imagine being in a Pokemon battle and you've somehow managed to capture the legendary Pokemon Unknown.
Yeah.
And you bust it out and just say, okay, what I'm going to do now is adjust reality around all of us so that you cannot possibly win this battle.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send your parents to another dimension.
I'm gonna kidnap both of your parents.
Do you want to forfeit or do you never want to see your parents again?
I wonder why that doesn't happen more in Pokemon battle. Like, okay, definitely Ash has been in a Pokemon battle, and in the middle of it, he's run up and punched the other one in the stomach, right? That's happened. But I wonder if there's ever been it's in the middle of a Pokemon battle. Okay, guys, help me think of a plan here. You're in the middle of a Pokemon battle. You know you're gonna lose on your own, right? So what do you do? Do you you plant a car bomb? No, I don't know. What do you do?
What?
How do you cheat at Pokemon?
Yeah, how do you do?
fights? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
what
How do
you're
you
doing now?
do something in real life that's criminal and horrifying, like kidnapping the other person's parents and threatening to kill them?
You duct tape razor blades to your Pokemon's hands.
I don't know. I think maybe you hold up your phone, right? Okay, here's what you do. You're in the middle of a Pokemon battle.
Okay.
Your Pokemon's losing.
Okay.
You hold up a picture. You hold up your phone, and the other trainer has to look in, and it's a live stream, and he notices the live stream is of his own house, and it's on fire. And so he immediately has to forfeit, and you're like, I want another one.
Oh my god, I've got to get home.
So where? Oh God. Okay. I have too many questions that you probably won't be able to answer about that. Oh God.
I can answer all questions. I've thought this through.
Okay. About how you would manipulate a battle that you were losing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to have a second. You have to have a co-conspirator.
Final thought.
Let's hear it.
This is just something to take with you, something to chew over.
Put in your pocket.
So throughout the movie, Molly believes
Something to milk
that,
chew over.
that Papa Pokemon is her father reincarnated as a legendary Pokemon. And there's nothing at the end of the movie to suggest that she stopped believing that because she is 4 to 6 years old and is just her last act towards this Pokemon she thinks is a reincarnation of her father is to shout, I believe in you, you can do it. That's how the entire plot is resolved.
Yeah.
The father comes back. This little girl is going to spend the rest of her life trying to relate to her father about the time that he was the legendary Pokemon that they always dreamed of, and he is going to have no idea what
Yeah.
she's talking about.
Yeah. Also, where was he?
He was in the dimension, man. Like the unknown dimension, right?
Yeah, I think just free falling through it.
Okay.
Probably passed out, which is why he comes to on the ground.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts, Ashley? Just sleepy. My final thought is I'm ready for bed.
I'm so tired.
Are you guys ready to come up with a catchphrase for the end of this podcast yet? Okay, you can find us at whatever. We don't have anything. Here's the thing. We don't have anything. We've recorded like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these episodes yet before any have come out. We don't have anything. I guess we're probably on iTunes. Maybe we're on Stitcher. Rate, review, subscribe, email us,
Share. Tell your family.
tweet
about
at us.
You can find me on Venmo. I love dollars.
Yes, I'm on Venmo as well.
DM me. I'll give you my address. Send me a check.
And don't forget to keep those homemade pictures of Brock tongue-kissing Pokemon rolling in.
Yeah, keep
Via-
sending us pictures.
I
of
will.
Brock
I will continue to
his
block you.
own Pokemon. All right, but we do need an outro phrase. We don't have one yet.
Is
can't just be
mine
bye.
not working?
It can't just be bite. It's got to be thematic.
Oh, like see you next week.
All right, until next
Pokemaniacs.
time. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.